This video will go over level 2 for hip mobility and strength needs. You're going to, again, lie down with your back supported, and goes right in the arch of your back. And then you're going to take this towel roll, put it in your hinge of your hip again. This time, instead of going straight to your chest, you're going to go straight to your chest and inward. So this is a combined motion and a little bit more of a progression than what we did before. So it's almost like you're bringing your knee to the opposite shoulder instead of the same shoulder. So with the towel roll in there, we're just going to come like this. And our pulses are going to go from neutral, starting at the same starting position as last time, but instead of directly up, we're going to go inward towards the opposite shoulder. So we're going to go 1, 2, and do these pulses until we get to 30 pulses. Again, instead of the towel, you can just use your arm in here, which might be convenient, and then you're just going to pull over to the opposite shoulder and do 30 pulses like that. This is just mobilizing your hip joint. So that's the first mobilization, and then we're going to go on our hands and knees, and we're going to do that same glute set that we did on our stomach, but in this position, in hip flexion. So just like this, we're going to squeeze the glute together and relax. Squeeze both glute maxes together and relax. Squeeze again and relax. So we can do this about 10 times, and then what I'm going to do is keep my back in its normal arch. So the tendency is when we come backward to round our back, but we want to keep the arch as opposed to round it. So if we keep our arch and rock backward, we might start to feel one hip pinch in the front, or both if you have hip pain on both sides. So at the point that we feel the pinching, we're going to stop, and we're going to do another 5 repetitions of squeezing the glute muscles together and relaxing. Squeezing the glute muscles together and relaxing. And then maybe that hip pinch will go away to a certain extent. Then we can keep that arch in our back and then come back a little further into our range. And then do another 5 glute sets at this point. And then maybe we can come back a little further and do glute sets. Now, if we go back so far that we start to round our back, then we've gone too far. We want to start over again. So glute sets here, back further, until we lose the arch. And then that's beyond our range, and we're just getting the mobility from our back at that point. So that is the one exercise to do for glute sets. And then we also are going to do standing hip hinge. So for that exercise, we're going to stand with our back to the wall. And we're just going to bring our feet hip width apart. And we're just going to hinge our hips back to the wall and then come back up again. So we might need to explore what distance do we need to be away from the wall to touch the wall with our hips and come back up. So that's the right distance for me. Here it's too close. Here I can't even reach the wall. So I've got to be right here so that I can just touch the wall and come up. You can see how the body's like a seesaw. So as the hips come down and back, the shoulders come, or the hips go back and up a little bit, the shoulders come down and forward a little bit. If you don't do that, you're just going to lose your balance and fall towards the wall. So you gotta hinge at the hips, bring the shoulders down as the hips go back to touch and come back up. You want to make sure both feet are equal weight bearing, so you're not more on one side than the other. You can do 10 of those, and then as you get better at this, you can go a little further away from the wall and see if you can still hip hinge at that distance. So hopefully that's helpful. That's a progression for level 2.